Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are making salted caramel macarons. Ingredients you'll need are 2 lots of caster sugar, cream, white chocolate and salt which I forgot to film, egg whites, pure icing sugar and almond flour. Full quantities are listed in the description box below. I have already pulsed my icing sugar and almond flour together in a blender until very fine. Using my stand mixer, I'm going to whip together my egg whites and caster sugar until they reach stiff peaks. Placing both the egg whites and all the caster sugar in the mixing bowl, we are going to turn the mixer on a medium to low speed until the sugar has dissolved into the egg whites. Once the sugar has dissolved in the egg whites, we are then going to increase the speed to medium-high to whip air into the meringue and create the stiff peaks. This will take up to 10 minutes to dissolve the sugar and create the stiff peaks in the meringue, but make sure not to rush this process. Today my shells are going to be a caramel colour. I will use ivory food gel as I want them to be similar colour to the salted caramel filling. Please don't use oil-based food colour or liquid as this will alter the integrity of the macaron shells and result in cracking and brittle shells. Now the meringue is ready, we are going to do the rest of the recipe by hand using a spatula. This is the process called macaronage. To start, I like to pour all my almond flour and icing sugar mixture into the meringue and fold that through quite roughly. Once all the dry mixture is incorporated with the meringue, we are now going to continue to fold the batter until it reaches the right consistency ready for piping. I like to scrape my spatula around the bowl and then push the spatula through the middle of the mixture, mixing and knocking air out of the meringue slowly. You need to continue to fold and knock air out until it is a shiny batter, and you can make a figure 8 with the mixture, or it has a nice ribbon-like flow when it comes off the spatula. As you can see in this footage, now it is ready to pipe. Today I'm using a number 8 round tip to pipe my macaron batter. I sometimes use just the coupler depending on the size of the macarons that I'm piping. Once your piping bag is full of the mixture, you can go ahead and start piping the macarons. I'm using my silicone baking mats today, however if you don't have any, you can use baking paper and A4 macaron template under the baking paper so the macarons will be consistent with shape and size. Google a macaron template to print off, or alternatively you can draw circles on your baking paper with pen using a cookie cutter in the size that you want the macarons to be. Ensure you flip over the baking paper so that the pen marking doesn't transfer onto the back of your baked macarons. Be sure to leave a good amount of space between each of the circles. To pipe macarons, you need to hold your piping bag directly above the top of the template, leaving roughly 1 cm gap between the baking tray and your piping tip. Holding the tip in the centre of the circle, applying even pressure and squeeze until the batter domes out, ensuring you have enough pressure to fill the entire circle. You then stop squeezing and flick off, ensuring you aren't leaving peaks at the top of your macarons. You then repeat this process until the tray is full. I have left the piping of each macaron in real time so you can see how long it does actually take me to pipe a full tray of macarons. Now the tray is full, I'm going to tap the tray on the bench a few times to help bring any air bubbles to the surface. By using a cocktail stick, you're going to pop those air bubbles and ensure the hole is filled by wriggling the cocktail stick around. You need to work quickly here as the macarons will start to form a skin being exposed to the air. Once you are happy with how your macarons are looking, we're going to let these air dry for a minimum of 30 minutes to create that skin. You'll know when they are ready when you can touch the top of the macarons lightly and no batter sticks to your finger. While those are drying, you'll preheat your oven to 140 degrees, no fan force if possible. These will take 12 to 14 minutes. You can check to see if it's ready by trying to pull a macaron gently off the tray while in the oven to see if it comes away from the baking paper. Or if you're using a silicone mat, when you lightly press on the top of a macaron, it feels set and almost firm. While those bake, I'm making my filling for today, which is going to be salted caramel ganache. In a small saucepan, add your caster sugar and water, and then you're going to bring this to the boil on the stove. All quantities of the ganache will be listed in the description box below. This is going to take a while for the sugar and water to turn into a caramel, as this is a wet caramel. The sugar and water will start to colour on the edges at this point. I will swirl the caramel around in the saucepan to ensure even heat distribution to the caramel. Hard to tell due to the saucepan being a dark colour, but once the sugar is of an amber colour, I will add in the cream. Make sure to stand back after adding in the cream as it will create a lot of steam. I let that bubble away for about 1 minute before stirring the caramel. At this stage I add the salt and turn off the heat. I should have added my white chocolate directly to the saucepan for less dishes, however as you can see I add my warm caramel to a bowl of white chocolate and let that sit for about 30 seconds before stirring. I would recommend a small whisk for this part instead of a spatula to ensure the ganache comes together. Allow that to cool until firm enough to pipe with. Once the macarons are out of the oven and completely cool, I'm going to pair them together. To do this, I will remove all the macarons carefully from the baking paper or silicone mat, whichever you are using, to try and match them up as best as possible. I tend to do this by holding the shells together, holding them on the sides where they touch to ensure that they are similar size and shape. Happy with my pairs, it's time to fill them. Using a piping bag with no piping nozzle, I cut off the end and I pipe the ganache into the centre of the macaron. Once piped with ganache, I sandwich the macarons together, pressing down slightly to make sure that the ganache reaches the edge of the macaron shell. There you go, my salted caramel macaron recipe. I hope you try out the recipe, and if you do, be sure to tag me on Instagram with your creation. Salted caramel is such a crowd favourite. If you liked this video and want to see more tutorials all things baking and cake decorating, please like and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any videos. I upload every Wednesday. See you next time!